Hello, we're back.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
And we've brought Hank with us again. It's been a minute, Hank, since we've had
It's
you
been
with
a
us.
couple months. Happy to
Yeah.
be back.
I think every time you come on, the beard gets bigger.
Yeah,
So
it is. It's very poofy today, too. So
I'm still going to have to find that picture way back when of Hank, no hair. No hair, no beard.
then if you go back even further in high school, I had long hair long enough where you could braid it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I'm trying to recreate my glory years with the beard, and soon I'll be able to do the comb over. It's gonna be great.
There's competitions for beard art. You can like make things with it and decorate it, put beads.
It's coming. I just already started braiding it and stuff, so it's definitely gonna be decked out in the not too distant future.
That would be fun. You should put like different pictures up on your profile on your website. Like today's beard art is.
Now that could be a whole new direction for me, maybe.
But we have you back to talk about some. Would you say common healing tools, like things that aren't like the most expensive things out there?
Yeah. I think healing tools really comes down to like things that we as healers could give a client to do on their own at home. Like, what do they do their homework in between sessions? Like, you might give them something to do, something to focus on, tools to help shift their mindset, like mantras. So, like, it's the tools that they either can do on their own or the things that we're giving them to do homework in between sessions. I think are the main ones. And then also physical tools, like we'll talk about tuning forks, Melissa's favorite noisemaker. No.
Do they have a quiet tuning fork, a silent tuning fork?
Well, the weighted one, if you're not right by it, is silent. No,
True. I need the deep tone weighted. You don't hear it. I'd be great with
right.
that one.
But
Probably.
things that are within the grasp of people doing on their own. If you didn't hear it from us, you might find it somewhere else, and you could take it, run with it a little bit, and actually start to do your own, your own healing work. Because really, it's all up to them anyway. We're just kind of facilitators to quicken them on their own path. Like they bring their healing with them. But like these are things that all can kind of just be things in the toolbox. And once you have enough things in your toolbox, whatever life throws at you, well, now you got a tool for that. Like the Apple App Store, if there's an app for that, there's a tool for that.
Mm-hmm. But I believe we wanted to start it. Funny enough, the belief system.
Yeah. So like, I believe, well, your reality is created based on your beliefs. Like if you were raised a certain religion or a certain culture or anything, like how much of your reality is interwoven around how you were brought up even. So like one of my favorite channels, his name is Daryl Ankins, he channels of being called Bashar. And he has this great saying, like, where have you been a belief thief? And so like the beginning part is really starting to sort out what was I taught, who I should be, how I should be, what I should do, like what are the things actually, you know, imprinted on you that have nothing to do with what your soul actually came to experience. Because a big part of healing, I think, isn't so much about becoming something, it's about unbecoming all the things that you aren't, and like sorting that out, and then getting more and more confident in like being comfortable in your own skin, and actually offering, your unique vibration, your unique medicine or gifts to the world. But that can only happen if you don't let mom and dad talk you into being something you're not. Like we were just somewhere for dinner meeting some old friends, and they were talking about how they're I forget what the kid wanted to do. Maybe it was dancing, maybe singing or something. And the mom was saying how they said, no, you can't do that. You have to go to school and you have to get a real job. And maybe you can do that on the side for fun or something. And hear like how many people have been talked out of their passion and dreams because as parents, like we don't want them to be disappointed, so then we paint a different picture for them, and now all of a sudden they're going down a different trajectory than if they were to have followed their passion from the beginning.
I mean, I'm guilty of that. When Rune was little, he's like, "Oh, I want to make money on YouTube," and I'm like, "Nah, you won't." And now I'm like, "Dude,
Maybe.
I take it all back." I stand corrected, my son. I was wrong.
I didn't do that with my kids. I made them make choices because I knew that they are going to have to live with the consequences. So they had to pick their high school. They had to pick what they wanted. And yeah, they didn't like that, but I'm here to help you and guide you. I'm not here to tell you what to do or what to pick. So yeah, but that's a different end of the stick too. They didn't like that.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned before that beingness precedes the doingness.
Yeah, like Neil Donald Walsh, who is by far one of my favorite authors, he talks about this model that we have backwards, where we think we need to do the thing they call get a job in order to have the thing they call money in order to buy the house, and then be the thing they call secure, where really like the state of being needs to come first. Because if you're always looking externally to do something in order to have something in order to be something, you're always looking to fill yourself from outside of yourself. And it might work temporarily, but ultimately, like that state of being comes from within. And so the idea is that if you want to be the thing they call abundant, or if you want to be the thing they called healed or whatever, you're looking at like how do I create that state of being, we talk about it in hoodoo a little bit, where a part of the process with different magic items is you have to imagine the magic working after it's done. Like how does that feel to have the result, and let your whole aura crackle with that feeling of it already being so. And so like it's that beingness that you're really trying to, not trying to, that you're invoking within yourself. And then the cool thing is the universe delivers you opportunities to express that being through doing this. But if you have to do something in order to be something, it's always like you're chasing the carrot. It's like the rat race that never ends.
Now, I want to make sure we put it out there that if you're doing like physical, like you're wanting to physically heal, in that state of beingness, if you are on prescribed medication, that does not mean to just quit taking your medication.
Correct.
So, can you explain a safe way in the state of beingness how to work on physical, mental, emotional healing without going, well, I believe I'm healed. I'm not taking any of my meds and I'm not going to them doctors.
And when it comes to that too, like what's the core belief? Like you can try to convince yourself of something, but if the core belief is that I'm sick, then the thing to start with is asking, being the question, and starting that you really have to develop intuition. Sorry, everybody, even if you're not going to be a reader, the basic yes or no with a pendulum or muscle testing or just getting that sense of what's light for you and what's heavy for you, because you have to start asking the questions: is this what's happening to me? Is it physical only? Is there a spiritual component? Because maybe if sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and you just got to do the physical things, and maybe that means working out and talking to a holistic doctor like Dr. K, who we've talked about before. I know one of her goals, like she'll work with people to get them off medications in a healthy way, like with case by case basis, depending what's going on. So you need to treat the whole being, body, mind, and soul. You can't just focus on love and light and flowing Reiki and now my cholesterol's fine. You can throw all the Reiki you want, but if you're eating McDonald's every single day, actions speak louder than words. So you, like if you're acting opposite of what you're saying you're looking for, and that's where the beliefs come in, because it's like, well, if you're choosing that, there must be part of you that thinks eating McDonald's every day is a good idea. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. So how does that serve you? And maybe there is an insecurity about being too attractive because maybe there was an abuse or something like that. And so part of you believes I need to eat unhealthy so I can present a certain way so that I don't get abused again, for example. So there's all like beliefs really come down. They're so interwoven, and if you are not manifesting the life that you would like and the health that you would like, the question is where is this really serving me on some level? Where do I believe this is serving me? Because my parents were like that, and apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and I believe that, so I'm recreating my parents' circumstances. Or you want to understand your parents, so you're creating the same circumstances because you put out to the universe, I want to understand why this person could do this to me and betray me like this. So now you've subconsciously created the same set of circumstances and are making the same choice, and then you go, oh my gosh, I get it. So like you really have to look at like what beliefs are you functioning with, and what have you put out to the universe, and what's showing up to start shifting into creating more consciously. It's really about, you have the iceberg, just a tip is visible. There's all this invisible or underneath the surface, and we're making the unconscious conscious through all this work we're doing. And
Mhm.
it's important to remember too, healing is not always a cure. Like Zane will say that in our class when we're taking the shamanic program, healing's not always a cure. So what's the real goal? And I like an acronym for healing because you know me, I'm an acronym nerd. Helping everyone appreciate life, heal. And that could be as simple as a change in a belief that changes your quality of life, or actual working on a physical ailment, or emotional, mental situations. It all rolls up under that.
So now that somebody has a good understanding of what they want their belief and that they've got their beingness that they want to be in, to get that to manifest outwardly, what are some of the common tools that aren't thousands and thousands of dollars, fancy copper pyramids, metal, tong drums, or the biggest crystal you can find at a gem show? Like what are simple techniques and tools that people can use to support that beingness that they want to have in their life?
Yeah. And I'm also just noting we're kind of going off more on manifestation, but that's where the energy is. So, like, I would say one of the most powerful ones, because it's about setting the intention, but not squeezing the sponge. And so things like, and by squeezing the sponge, I mean if you're like saying, "I want this," and you want it so badly, like if you imagine a sponge being squeezed, can it retain? Can it receive any water? It can't, because you're focusing so much, and that's like over intending, if you will. Intention is like a bow and arrow. You off it goes, and you have the intention, then you have a perception. You rinse and repeat. So it's about setting your intention, but then maintaining it in a good way. And that's why I love like those knob candles that you have at the store, which is like, it's like one little round knob for per day, for a week. Or you could do a 7-day candle with a paper underneath it, like a petition paper, and you like light the candle and you just sit with it for a little bit. You restate your intention, and you also ask the universe, God, source, whatever you want to label it as, like, what is my part in this? Because so often we set an intention and we just expect it to show up, but we forget that we have to take the steps too, and it makes the whole process go faster. Um, but like finding, like, just candle magic is super easy to set an intention and maintain it.
I'm a big candle person, so I'm like, I like that one.
Yeah. But you could also, like, you can give crystals jobs. You could give like a pointed crystal, like while you're in a super meditative state, you blow your intention for what you want to create into the stone, and when you're going throughout the day, you have it in your pocket. You're rubbing it for inspiration, and like, just to kind of keep you. It's like a physical representation of your intention. You could use things like from Reiki, the Reiki grids, and down to Crown symbol. You could get more elaborate if you want, but keeping it basic: crystals, candles, writing it out. Like writing out the intention, and like repeating that, and then really just being open to noticing when the universe is giving you an opportunity to act and to take a step towards that, what you're looking to create.
No, I know at one point, and we were kind of talking about this before we went live. You're like, yes, sound healing, tuning forks. And I'm like, why are you so noisy? But correct me if I'm wrong. One of your favorite tuning forks seems to be either the ohm or the perfect fifth.
Well, I mean, if somebody, like, keeping things price effective too, because like I have 600 forks and you can go crazy. But I remember, like, when I got into sound healing, the big reason I did is I felt that when I was going to fellowships, I was getting a lot of tools for spiritual things, for mental things, maybe emotional, but not a lot for physical. And that's when I found aromatherapy, and then I found sound healing, and then this is a like a weighted fork. You can, I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see. There's weights here, and then I have a gem put on it, but like it's usually just and then like that. But the beautiful thing with this, and I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it because it's weighted. Can you hear it at all?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the frequency of ohm. And so one, it's grounding. And there's even science behind it when they show the astronauts and the Schumann resonance, like we actually get benefit from being resonated with the earth. So it's super grounding. But you combine this with a book that you can get, and probably through Melissa, I'm sure you could order Potent Pressure Points. It's a book on acupressure. And when you open it, it has all these little diagrams, and you can just go and you activate the fork, put the end on the little points, and you just follow all the little spots for a headache or a migraine. In fact, way back when the store was at the old location down close to the Fairview Park border, we had like a healing day where we were just working on veterans and people were coming in. And it was one of the other healers. They had a headache, and I did the tuning fork with them on the points for migraines, and the headache went away in like 5 minutes, not even. And so, like, if you needed to just have like one fork in your repertoire, a weighted fork, 136.1 or 128, that's all you really need, especially for someone that's not doing it full time and things. And then the perfect fifth is more about balancing the nervous system. Dr. John Boyu, and that's why I love that he's a clinical psychologist who is also a musician who just had this theory that you could tune the human body. And then he came up with a whole tuning fork set based on the Schumann resonance. But C256 and G384 he found can help shift the pitch of your nervous system and balance the nervous system. So that's another one that just bringing those two forks. Sorry, Melissa, I know you don't like noise, but I'm just a little demonstration. You can hear the tones. And just doing that for yourself or for a friend or whatnot, that can help shift your nervous system back into a more regulated state. So especially if you're prone to like being triggered, CPTSD, that kind of thing, not that we're claiming to treat, diagnose, cure any disease, but a perfect fifth, that type of frequency can be very beneficial just to smooth it out. But if you're in public and you can't be noisy, a weighted fork, you can easily do that and not draw too much attention to yourself.
Have everybody wanting to come play with your noisy fork. Like, I want to try. And Maria, do you have any questions so far for Hank on what we've been covering here?
No, I like the noisy forks.
Yeah. And if people want to play with the forks, I happen to now be doing a sound bath at Goddess Sleep on the first Sunday of every month. So I always have some forks with me, so you can come out for the sound bath. It's at 6:30 on the first Sunday. Unless this is like a super old replay and you're watching it, then always check the store calendar to make sure something hasn't changed. But as of March 2026, first Sunday of every month.
How awesome would that be if it's been like 10 years down the road and people are still listening? That would be amazing. Now, you mentioned breathing and box breathing, and I'm like, oh, Maria, we've talked about a lot of breath work. But Hank, you also like, breathing, especially the box method. So can you explain the box method and the benefits of it?
Well, and first, the reason I like it is no matter where you are, what you're doing, the breath you always have. You might not have a tuning fork or a crystal or a tree to hug or anything like that, but you got your breath. And so, and this one, I there's so many people who do breathing work like way more than me, but simple box breathing. And they do this in the military even, and it helps reset the nervous system because really a lot of it's about resetting the nervous system so you're in a state of embodiment and at 1 minute or whatnot. But it's breathing into 4 counts, holding 4 counts, exhaling 4 counts, holding the exhale 4 counts. So in, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Rinse and repeat for a minute or so. And just that, in one sense, whatever was going on, you just interrupted what you would normally do because you're choosing to do something else. And so in the NLP, we would call that an interrupt, right? And there's different modalities that call different things. But instead of getting mad and like lashing out at someone, you now said, ooh, I'm triggered. And now I'm going back and I'm doing my 4 count box breathing for a couple minutes or 30, however much time you have. And just that can put you in a place where you're choosing an action instead of reacting. Or that your blood pressure doesn't quite go as high.
Or your tachycardia comes down.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and being mindful that knowing that you're triggered, making that decision, stepping out, that puts you back into that mindfulness and the beingness, of purposely being rather than reacting to the situation. And you mentioned in your notes here color, because we all have clothes, right? Most of us have clothes of,
Hmm.
and a lot of people, not myself, have clothes in many colors. So, how can people use color in their life, specifically even clothes, like to wear to have the energy of that color?
Ooh, yeah, I have to find the website. Joe Matson used to have this site where you would talk and make a little voice clip, and it would analyze your voice, and it would spit out, here's the colors that you're missing in your energy field, and then you would wear the colors that would be appropriate. Now you could do the same thing. What colors do I need in order to help shift my mood, or whatever the case, and use a pendulum or do muscle testing and everything like that. But really, like if there are, and I'm sure we could Google it, there's different colors that create different states. Like what color do you need more of in your life, and wear it, push yourself. And if you're really resistant, well, maybe it's not your color, or maybe you are resisting going into the state that that color would help you get into because you don't want to look at that stuff. Like when you start to shift into a place that you're going to hit a more elevated vibration, the things that are weighting you down, they come to the surface, just like, boulders over the wintertime in a farm field. They boulders get heaved in the winter, and when you start to shift your vibration, the things that are not going to jive with that vibration are going to come to the surface, and sometimes we don't want to deal with that stuff, or you just don't like the color. It could be that too.
Well, I mean, there's even like, I'm sure it's science based and in finding good reference points for like that I'm lacking in. But even knowing that like hospitals will avoid certain colors on their
Hmm.
main walls
Mhm.
because they make people anxious and upset. And, you already have your white coat syndrome where you're nervous about being there.
Hmm.
And then the energy of those colors stacked on top of it can make people uncomfortable. So, um, according to a quick search here, specifically steering clear of deep reds, vivid oranges, and bright, jarring yellows. The colors can increase heart rate, raise blood pressure, or cause eye strain. So, which is agitating, doesn't make you feel very good. So, um,
Yeah. There's all kinds of color therapy out now too, where a lot of it's based on a guy named Dimshaw. If I'm pronouncing it right, there's a book called, I think it's Let There Be Light. I have it somewhere, but he made these huge machines that had these big light bulbs that were so hot that it had a cooling system to keep the whole thing from overheating. But then he had like these little lenses of different colors, and that they especially tested it on burn patients. That they had them, and they would take these different color combinations, and they would do these tonation sessions that would last for an hour or more, and they found great results in that. And then they came in and trashed it was kind of like the color, like like the Rife machine that got uh, confiscated and everything. It was kind of like the color therapy version of the sound machine. And then but that's where we had all those, like the halo technology with like the little photonically charged vials and things like that. So there's a whole world of color therapy, but it's so cost prohibitive to like get into that or find someone with that, because like the little flashlight machine with the photon vials, they were like thousands of dollars. And you could go to
Mhm.
Patty Conklin, which I wanted to talk about and give people a tool with colorworks anyway, that you have one visualization exercise, and here you go, here's something
Mhm.
that is accessible to everyone. But like there's a lot of
Mhm.
science behind color therapy.
mhm.
Yeah.
So Patty
Thanks to Mr.
Conklin.
Dinshaw.
So you just mentioned Patty Conklin. Do you want to like talk about her for a minute and her color works
Yeah.
workshop? Because Maria, you took it as well, right?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and you might have taken it more recently than me, so you can like fill me in if there's better ways to say things. But Patty, the unique thing with Patty Conklin is like she kind of sees the world like Neo saw the Matrix when everything was like the green coding going through. So like she just has a knack for like vibrational medicine and that kind of thing. But she developed this real simple technique that she could teach people that don't have that gift, where you close your eyes. Well, I guess you could leave them open, but get centered,
Mhm.
and you be the question: what color does my body need, or my being need, however, body and being and everything you are, what color does it need to bring my anxiety from an 8 to a 5, and make a tangible, realistic goal for yourself. And then what you would say is like you breathe in that color, but the trick is that from moment to moment you allow the color to shape and shift. And the idea being that the second that you start to flow the energy, the vibration that is most beneficial to you can shift, because as you're shifting, the frequency that's most impactful shifts. So you're breathing in the frequency and you're letting it change and change and change, and then you're breathing it out of your crown. And not to be afraid of dark colors, because when you first start, it might be blacks
Mm-hmm.
and browns and ugly grays, and it's just like, oh. But as you do that and you bring it down to a five, and then you say, well, what color do I need to bring my five to a three and a three to a one? Or what color do I need to not be afraid to step into my authenticity? Like you could use the question for anything that you like and then run that color, and you're running the the vibration that your body and being need to step into whatever shift you're looking to create for yourself. Did I remember it right, Maria? Or did you?
Yes, yes, yeah, because it's very simple. It's very simple, but you have to allow the answer to come to you. That's the trick, also. Not something that you want, like, oh, okay, I love blue, so I'm gonna have blue, and then you might not have blue coming in. You might have like a pink, and you don't like pink. Then allow it to come.
Yeah.
I
And
saw
if you
you
don't
looking at
see
me when you
colors,
said
just oh, does she not like pink? Of course she doesn't. But like some people aren't visual, so like the
Mhm,
carol of art, like when Zane talks about the tradition from Peru, like they aren't visualizing anything, they just trust that it's happening. So if you're one of the people that don't see things, that doesn't mean you can't do it. Just trust and know whatever vibration your body or
mhm,
being need, it's flowing from your feet up and out the crown, and just allow it, see what you feel, or see what you hear, see what you smell, like or see what you know. Some people just have clear knowing and they don't get any of the fancy stuff. So like then it's just getting out of your own way, because I'm not visual and I can't do it like somebody else does. It doesn't mean these things don't work for you, because intention drives it all.
that could be a really
mhm,
good technique for people who are blessed with synesthesia, right?
mhm,
For them, some people, colors have taste, they have sound associated, they have smells associated, and so if you can't visual it, maybe you're able to smell it, hear it,
Hmm.
some other sort of way. Um,
mhm.
I was just astounded when I learned that there are some people that don't have mental movies, that they can't picture things. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't have a movie constantly playing? And some people don't have the voice either running in their head. And I'm like, oh, what is that like? What's
You'll find out
Peaceful,
next life.
very peaceful, very, very. I don't have that.
oh my God, I'm jealous. But I would love to get a hold of Patty and be like, so about your color works. Ooh, let's get into synesthesia and
Well,
how to play with
message
that.
her. Maybe she'll hop on. Like, oh, she's really busy, so like it all depends on timing.
Yeah.
Or sometimes what she did for when I did that 12-hour live stream a couple years back, she couldn't be on live with me, but she recorded something for me and sent it, and then I was able to just play it and then talk about it. So, you know, you can reach out to her, or I can reach out to her, whichever.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, Patty, haven't seen you in forever
Yeah.
since our expo.
Well, you'll when you email her the right email, like you'll talk to her people and they'll work it out. I wouldn't message her just on Facebook, but I have the email, and either I can email it or give it to you, or we can email and copy each other, whatever. But I bet she loves us. I think so. I think she would, if she has the time. I bet you she would come on.
Ooh, that would
Mhm.
be fun. Fangirling. Patty. Um, but I mean, color's free, right? So you can use color all day
Mhm.
long.
And
Um,
I never took it, but she also has tone work, so she does the same thing with sound, which I can't say how.
Yes.
Have you taken that one? Do you know how that one works for sure?
Yes. 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 I have to look at my notes. There is a certain. It's one of Beethoven that she recommended, and it gets you back set to where you need to be. If you're highly stressed or had a chaotic day, there is one that she recommended in class. I have to look for my notes, and she talked about certain. Even though these musicians way back did not know exactly what they were doing, but they were creating an art, classical music. A lot of classical music is what she talked about,
Mhm.
and there's a tone in those frequencies in those music. So it's music, but there's actually a tone in there that your
Mhm.
body is resonating and you know connecting with. I have to look for my notes. It's been a
Well, yeah, that
while.
would be good to know. And I know like there's like some science behind it too, because they say when you like play music for a child, they have like the Mozart effect. So if you're playing
Mhm.
Mozart, they find that it helps with development and different things. And just like imagine like when you're watching a movie and that soundtrack, it's like creating that emotion with you. Like music takes you on a journey. And
Yeah.
modern day music theory is all based on just what they were doing. There was like, it's not like they got together and like try to make it make sense. It's like those people who wrote those things, they based music theory based on what they did and try to make it work,
Mm.
and none of it makes any sense. If you get into it, it's like the piano's playing this key and this thing's playing this key, and it's like, how did this all come to be? And it's so because I'm taking music lessons now, and I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense, but at least I know it's not supposed to, and now I feel better about
No.
myself.
No. Yeah.
So I'm finding Beethoven's Symphony Number 5 seems to do a lot with, like, physical healing, and Symphony Number 7 for emotional.
I think it was the number 5 that is what she was brought up bringing into class because a lot of us, are actually more prone and conscious of the physical. We don't.
So
We're some of us are in denial of the emotional, or we just not even look at it. But the physical, because you feel the pain.
Mhm.
Yeah.
so and I'm sure you can find Beethoven's Symphony Number 5 all over
Hmm.
online, for free to listen to. Um, there is a mention of another, piece. It's called Atmospheres. I am not going to butcher the artist's name. Um, I will put it in our show notes down here in the comments for people to look up on their own if they would like. But Beethoven's Number 5. So, um, it's funny because it seems I have noticed a lot of people with certain, what's the correct word? Certain personality types, and that's not even correct because, like, for instance, autism is not a personality, right? That is a genetic thing. But
Hmm.
I've noticed certain types of people will prefer classical and instrumental,
Mhm.
and it seems to help keep them calm and focused, and they can like drown out anything that would normally be a trigger. So it's interesting to find some of the science behind that.
Hmm.
Um, and there was more Googling. Our friends can go down those rabbit holes, but I guess the way it was written and the hertz that it's performed in, like, is that healing frequency. And that's why number 5 is recommended.
Ooh, I
And
wonder what
7,
they tuned it to.
that is a whole long rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Let's not do that. That could be well. That could be a separate stream
uh,
altogether.
turn on number 5 laying in bed if you're having insomnia, and before it knocks you out, maybe you'll find out. um, I don't know how accurate this is, but I'm finding it over and over again. Cancer cell reduction by Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Over 48 hours
Yeah.
significantly reduce the visibility or viability of cancer cells.
Yeah, there was a not specifically Beethoven, but they were doing some work with these ultra high sonic vibrations that when
Hmm.
people would just go into a room and they're being subjected to this combination of frequencies where it was having a huge impact on cancer cells. Now, when that if and when that comes to fruition, that like imagine that Beethoven is those same frequencies and they just octave it up, to these ultrasonic frequencies. Sound can do anything, really. It's just a matter of using it responsibly and doing some research. But like
Oh,
things like the Ohm
yeah.
tuner or Beethoven's Fifth, you can easily
Hmm.
do those things on your own without having to go down the rabbit hole of educating yourself about all the ins and outs.
Well, sometimes if you go too far down the rabbit hole and you get too much in the analytical mind, like you're interrupting
Yeah.
the whole
The
process.
process.
Yeah, sometimes it is
Mm.
just sit back and enjoy and don't overthink it. Um, Next up on your list, Hank, was some cool nature formations. And I'm like, yeah, trees. Maria's talked all about the trees, but you wanted to get a little deeper on the trees. And then cool waterways and waterfalls, especially if somebody lives close enough to go
Mhm.
enjoy a waterfall. But
Yeah. Well, what it's all about reconnecting and developing a relationship with nature and with the trees. In the Peruvian tradition, we call them Mauki Kuna, the trees, and it's not just about like hugging the tree or you're intentionally going up to it. You put your navel to the tree, and you allow your navel to be like a drain, and you allow all the heaviness in your whole body, being and beyond, like just let it all drain into the tree. And the law of Aini says you gift and you receive. So like at when you feel that flow has stopped, you just become receptive and let the tree gift back to you. And we call it, in the tradition, it's called a karpai. It's a sacred information exchange, if you will. And your heaviness, you look at, this is all the stuff that made me who I am. I'm so grateful for it. You have to look at it from a place of gratitude when you're giving it. Otherwise, you're not done with it and it's not going to go. So you got to, but be grateful for it, let it flow, and then you're going to get back from the tree like this, like little seeds of potential that you can grow within yourself. One of which is how to be an Aini, a reciprocity with other people, places, and things. Another one is how to be the portal between worlds, because the tree has the roots that go into the earth. It is in the middle world with the trunk, and with the leaves, it's pulling in from the upper world. So like trees are naturally like bridging the worlds, and we're all bridges between worlds, really. Some more dynamically than others, but we're all in all the worlds all the time and navigating that. And then the other thing that I love about trees is it teaches you how to be the alchemist, because like if you think about that acorn, it's taking earth, it's taking water, it's taking air, it's taking sun, and that acorn becomes the oak. So, like all the seeds of potential, your intentions, like how you visualize your life, as you really connect with nature, the nature spirits and the sun and all these things, like you're really reawakening in yourself how you are this master alchemist, and the trees help with that, of how you use all these things to make shifts in your life. And around the mesa that we work with, we go from a solid to a liquid to a gas to a plasma. Like it's all about elevating the energies within you, and trees are like masters at it. And that's what you're connecting with the tree. You're getting like a little healing lesson, and then it's up to you to nurture it, water those seeds that it gives you back. But that's why I love trees.
mhm. And they're pretty.
And they're pretty. Just do not use the one in the back of the store that the poison ivy is growing on. That's a bad tree to
That
use.
is beautiful in of its own right. And me and that
It
tree have a
is.
lot of conversations. And I'm like, as soon as we figure out how to have a class on using poison ivy, we are so doing this. Um, um, he's my favorite buddy there on the grounds.
Yeah.
Um, Now you mentioned like waterfalls.
Yeah. So like my favorite, and we do this as part of the shamanic program that we do, but like anybody could do this, where you go up to the waterfall and you take 3 breaths. And with each breath, you are just letting all the heaviness pool and condense into like a little harpoon of heavy energy. So breathing in, two, three, and then on the third breath, you retain and hold and like just like do a pakui. Just imagine this harpoon going into the waterfall, and just like the tree, you're letting it drain all your hucha. You're letting it drain all your heaviness, and then when you feel that stop, you go into receiving mode, and you receive back from the water the energy body to learn how to cleanse heavy energies. And so that is a great thing. Even just listening to the water, being by the water, you're getting it.
Mhm.
And that's why you
Mhm.
go to where the energies are naturally present. That's like mysticism 101. You don't have to sit there,
Mhm.
oh, I'm going to figure out how to use the tree. No, you go to the tree. That's where the energy's at. And you commune with it with whatever way's right for you. If what we're talking about doesn't work for you, ask the question, hey, spirit, what would be the best way to commune with this nature spirit? this waterfall.
Mhm.
But that's the technique that we were taught in our tradition, and it's super easy. 3 breaths, harpoon, drain, receive, repeat. And even if you've done it a million times at the same waterfall, every time I'm at a waterfall, I do this exercise again. It's not like you can overdo it. And every waterfall, it might have learned a lot since the last time you saw it. Maybe you had other shamans or pacos and people go, and it has all kinds of new information and tricks, and you want to make sure
Mhm.
you do it again.
Now, running streams could work just as well.
It can.
Yeah.
Any moving water can, really.
Yeah.
I just like waterfalls a lot, especially these frozen ones recently. I did not like the cold, but I really liked trudging out to see some frozen waterfalls. It was a highlight of the cold snaps.
The one of the few bright points of Ohio winters.
Usually they don't all freeze like that. Even Niagara Falls froze for the first time in like over 5 years. It was yeah. I didn't get to go that. I didn't think about going to Niagara Falls until it was too late. It was already thawed. But next
Mhm.
time.
Now, you also listed caves.
Yeah, caves are like the womb of the mother. And so when you
Mhm.
go to a cave, you're like naturally within her, and it's like the great place to just go and let all the heavy to just flow out of you and into the cave. You don't even have to like just like osmosis just pulling out of you and going into the cave. And it doesn't even have to be like a full cave. It could just be an overhang. You could use a sweat lodge, but the idea is that you're going into the belly of the earth, and you're letting her digest or break up that heavy energy for you. And in fact, we have a technique in shamanism. It's called huchimikwi. It's to digest heavy energies. And when you're in her belly, or if you will, that is the place where she's working that energy. And just being in a cave for any period of time is going to help move that through. And there's other things that happen that I won't talk about so much energetically, but you're getting multiple benefits. In addition to digesting the heavy energy, you're also receiving all kinds of healing from the cave that's going to balance the energy field in unique ways, defragment you if you're all over the place energetically. There's a lot of benefit to caves.
But they don't have to be super deep, long spelunking
Uh,
caves, right?
and if you can't even find a cave, lay on the earth. Like
Mhm.
caves are most ideal. At the end of the day, laying on the earth, you're gonna ground. If you just have 2 feet on the earth and have the intention to connect with the earth, intention drives it all. But the first couple times you do it, being in a cave, that's where the energy is most naturally present, and you're going to have the energy body is going to learn the most by going to a cave. Then it will be more productive when you're just on the earth and running it or asking for it.
Do you have any questions, Maria?
No, no, I do agree with I do the trees. I mostly
She's
use the
biased.
rhythm. Yeah, I use the rhythm actually of the leaf. When the air is blowing, I love that musical rhythm of the trees that it gives, and also the streams and the waterfall, the rhythm, that vibration that's coming from them. I haven't gone to a cave yet. I need to go to a cave.
You have to.
I haven't
Did
experienced
you?
that yet.
You went through the program. Did we not go to a cave with you, or did you like play hooky
Yeah,
that
we
day?
did. Yeah, we did go to that cave, the crystal cave, the crystal
Okay.
cave. Yeah, we went down there, but I didn't know what I was doing at that time. That was the very first weekend. I need to go
Yeah.
back.
But even if you didn't know with your mind, and that's why Zane teaches the way he does, and some people like it and some people don't, is that you have the experience first, and your energy body got it,
Hmm.
whether or not your mental mind made sense of it. But now going back, it would be a whole different experience.
Oh yeah, that's why I need to go back there.
Yeah, but there's also Deerlick Cave down in I forget where it is, and then there's one in Akron that's huge that we've used. There's a lot of good caves. You could also use a grotto at like a
Hmm.
Catholic place, that would work too. Or the
Yeah.
baptism thing. We've used that to release heavy energy in a church before.
Yeah, there's Bear Cave in Illyria even. So
Ooh,
there's some kind of closer.
I have not heard that one. I will have to check that one out. And Barry's even one of my spirit animals, so that's like extra cool.
Yeah, it's a fun little area, and there's waterfalls near it. I believe that was one of the locations when we were trying to find where to take people. I'm like, Illyria's got 2 out of the 4, like right here. But Illyria's like close, at least where I'm at. I don't know for you, Marie, if one of the other ones would be closer from your house. But
nature sites are worth driving a bit for.
But if any of our friends in the audience have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
Going over some common tools and techniques, so you don't have to have expensive, fancy, woo-woo equipment to get the job done. Probably putting myself out of business, right? No, you must come by the biggest rock that I have, and
the bigger the better. More healing you get. Especially if it's over a pound, you get double the healing.
Especially like Beethoven. I'm sure you can find Beethoven on, Amazon or on YouTube or some music streaming, and just be able to listen to it. Yeah, we kind of got through all of that kind of quicker. I'm like, ooh, it might be hard to keep it under an hour, but I think we did a good job. Yes, Maria. Oh, I heard you. I thought you'd say something. I was like, no, leave us hanging like that.
No, I'm thinking about my cave trip now when it's warmer.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to try and get to any of the caves right now with the ice and the slush. And
no.
There was one year, it was like nice, bright, and sunny, but it had rained a couple days before. And that year we had a handful of our students who were not as mobily agile because of their age. And I spent more time walking around constantly, like ready to catch them if they slid. Because I'm like, oh man, I'm having a hard time in here. And I think one of them almost did go down at one point. And I'm like, oh, that's it. Here we go.
That's how you have the waiver. Signed the waiver.
Because it was just slick and muddy.
When we were in West Virginia, we had this mature couple climb all the way up to Seneca Rock, like the very top, and then the whole way down, like where like everybody else was gone. It's like me, Zane, Anya, a couple others, and we're all just like walking down with these 2 people, and it was a great time. And I can't believe how easy they made it look. I'm like, I'm out of breath, and they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hey, Lisa. Both Lisas. We got our friend Lisa from Chicago and Lisa from the Cleveland area.
Lisa squared. No, but all these tools and techniques and everything, I think like where people ought to start really is just looking at themselves, like, who am I? And who I think I am isn't all me. And like really start to understand like what makes you you, and where you might have been a belief thief. And like when you start clearing up your belief system, like a lot of things that might be showing up in your life will naturally kind of work their way out. But it's like really getting to the root cause of those things. And that's where sometimes going to a healer can be helpful. But like if you can really ask a question and be honest with yourself, because we're really good liars. We like to lie and make ourselves the hero of our story, but we're also the victim of our story, and we have to like look at where we've allowed ourselves to be disempowered, either by our own doing or someone else's, and like start to work on those things and stay the course. And then all these tools just help that. Like when you run into things that might need a little more oomph to get through or whatever, that all the tools that we're talking about really can help with those types of things.
I think that's the hardest part, being honest with yourself.
Yeah. That's why it's good to have at least an accountability person that can call you on your BS. As Melissa has called me many times on my BS. She is she's our head BS caller.
I was going to say, I know Maria's called me out on some stuff. Calavera's like, that'd be you. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Damn. Okay. Note taken. Okay.
But the way that you just even talked about that, yeah, you're right. Like giving yourself the grace that, yeah, that was me. And like then like some people we start to judge ourselves for doing it wrong, or judge ourselves for judging ourselves, and then we're just adding more heaviness, where like the space of grace as you move through it is paramount. Like we tend to judge past actions based on current data, and we've all done, really, we made the choices, the best choices we could make at the time. We might regret it and have a different
Mhm.
point of view 1 second later, but if you can just give yourself the
Mhm.
benefit of the doubt that you really have made the best choices you could have made at the time you made it, you
Mhm.
can do a lot of like just self-forgiveness, and like being in allowance of oneself as you start to actually do the healing process.
I find as I get older, it's easier to accept those parts of like, yeah, I did it. Okay. I mean, like, oh, let's get into why. Okay. Note to self, don't do that again, or choose better,
Yeah.
and I think that as you get older, you don't care what people think near as much. And so you're able to step back and go, yeah, that was kind of effed up. Okay. Let me,
Yeah,
got it.
I like
You know?
saying I had a moment of crazy, the age of crazy. Yeah.
So I'm embracing my older, no F's given, stage of life, and even at times like looking back at younger, what was said, what was done, what I thought I had to do, what was and
Mhm.
now I'm like, oh my God, that was so trivial. Why was I so stressed about that? Like now I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And so I find if people come in and they're asking for help, and if I hear that they're kind of stressed about those same things that I was way back when, I'm like, let's talk about some stuff first before you drive yourself insane, because been there, done that. you know let's look at more options and help you decide if you still want to do that, or now that you have another point of view on how that could turn out, maybe you want to choose something different.
Hmm.
Learn from my
Yeah.
mistakes, or my inaction on something. So um, getting older is great that way.
Mhm.
I can't
Knowing
wait to
that
be
there's
Hawaiian
no.
grad level.
Yeah. Yeah. Throwing away the rule book and forget what people think, because
Mhm.
it's not worth it. Yeah.
And AA, we have that was a prayer I heard once. It's like the set aside prayer where you say, "Help me set aside everything I think I know," because half the time we stop listening because we think we know, and now we don't need to know whatever that person's sharing. But if we can set aside everything we think we know, and actually receive the points of view and the guidance, then maybe we can have a better chance at making a decision that's more fruitful.
Mm.
But if you're a know-it-all, then you're not open to receiving. So I really like that intention. Just help me set aside everything I think I know about everything: healing, about universe, God, relationships,
Mm.
religions, politics, all of it. That I can have an open mind and experience the truth is the rest of the prayer.
Yes, take the
Yeah.
tunnel vision blinders off. You know.
Yeah,
Well,
no questions. It's amazing. We must have done a really good job explaining
Yeah.
things.
I know, and I'm like, well, to wrap up maybe early, because there's no questions.
We have people saying hi. That's cool. Hi, everybody. Hi, Patty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lombardo, not Conklin.
Patty
This
and
Patty's
Mara.
really cool. Also,
Wasn't she at our expo for a few years, right? Patty
I don't
Lombardo?
don't. I mean, she ran an expo way out. I don't know if she. Oh no, that's Patty Dunes. I know too many Patties. I don't know if this Patty was at our show or not. Maybe.
Maybe. It's
I think she was somebody that I've not met in person much, but we were in each other's orbits talking, and she ran some things on the east side and that kind of stuff. If I'm thinking of the correct Patty.
um well, thanks for joining, guys. And thanks for listening to us pick Hank's brain about easy, common tools and techniques, and me telling him and Maria, like, don't talk just about grounding with trees. And let's get deeper. But Hank, do you have anything coming up that you would like people to know about?
Well, I happen to be at Goddess Elite this Sunday at 6:30 for a ceremony and sound bath. So like come out. It's my second time at the store. It was really great being back. All people that came last month were all new that I had not worked with before. So that was cool to see a lot of new faces. But that will be after the store closes. Please bring your own yoga mat. I will have a few on hand, but I don't necessarily have enough if like everyone decides to show up. I don't have enough for everyone. But there's chairs too. So I come out for that. And other than that, come see me for sessions. You can go book through Goddess Elite. I'm virtually available Tuesday and Thursday, or message me. We can set up a time during the week.
Mhm.
Yeah. Maybe I'll be back at the store a little bit more often as my office situation changes yet again. We'll see how that pans out. If you have office space for rent, let me know. I'm looking.
Hi, Debbie. Saw that you're alive. I always enjoy what you and Hank share on Facebook. I'll have to catch up on the replay.
Hey.
Yes. I know Facebook replay is almost instant access. I think YouTube takes a little bit of time before it's available. So since you're commenting on Facebook, maybe you can just catch it there quicker. Yeah, sound baths with Hank might be back in the store for some private, healing work. Maria, we'll have to get some more classes scheduled. We just did a crystal skull class this past Saturday. The crystal skulls were out in force, mine, yours, and Calavera. There was a lot of little heads going on.
Yeah, they were causing mayhem. But
I got where's my guys? I might still might.
And Hank's got a few.
I got a few. They might be in the triple digits now.
I'm like, we should start a Crystal Skull Anonymous meeting,
I cut myself off and then I bought
all the practitioners are going to be in there.
I haven't seen the smoky citrine that I brought back from Tucson this year, apparently.
I don't want to see it.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. No. Maybe.
There's a couple Trollite skulls there. There's the smoky citrine. The Merlinite one went home today with its new owner. I had a stick agate one that Sierra snatched up. But yeah, there's some really cool sardonyx ones in the store right now that I brought back. So
maybe Anya and I will have to come up and check out the goodies.
Even the Mexican fire opal skulls.
Yeah, Maria's got 2 out of the 5. She's starting to hoard them. So if anybody else wants Mexican fire opal skulls, you need to come before Maria buys the last 2. Yeah.
They're cool.
But yeah, well, thanks for joining, guys. We will be back next week for another episode of the Healer's Corner, and we may be able to wrangle Hank again in a couple months, depending on what we can come up with to talk about.
I'm sure we can figure out something. So
he's a walking encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to vibrational healing.
Yes, maybe our next topic is the healing energy of braiding your beard, Hank. Maybe that's what we talk about.
Okay, well, we'll see. Let's see what Anya and I can put together as we play around with that.
Right. All right. Well, have a good night, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Good night. Bye.